It's really absolutely my honor to be here to talk to four wonderful artists who are all a little bit nervous. I think it's everyone's first time publicly speaking, so I would really encourage the audience to support us by paying attention to what I think is a really nuanced conversation about the materiality, multiplicity, and longevity of practice in everyone's work here. I think what's most exciting for us, for me especially, is to be introduced to new practices that have been developed over time and that are finally being shown on a large scale to such a large audience at the India Art Fair. I think we'll start by showing short video clips of each artist's practice just for you to have a little introduction to that.
As a sculptor, my engagement with the materials is a means of resisting the limitation. I realized that thoughts, like objects, can be medium, both personal and collective, shaped by memory, history, and psychology, making the space for the interaction, the viewer as the part of it. Hi, I am Arun. I'm starting this film from my studio, not to explain, but to walk with you. I'm riding towards the old city of Baroda. This place taught me how the bodies move, and how material age, and how people live inside the system. I am from Talasheri, a place in Kannur, in Kerala. From the beginning, performance art made me curious. How body can be used as a medium to communicate. There are a lot of performances happening in our surroundings. In my practice, I create forms and I use the space to guide bodies. A space to think, a space to get confused, and space to get reflected. The forms of the human body I am creating is to represent not a community. It represents us, you and me. It is most minimal form to connect all types of the people. If we want to interact with a place, we need to understand the people. I learned about the people and culture by understanding what is allowed and what is restricted.
Hi, I'm Dumiduni Illangasinghe, a Sri Lankan artist and currently based in Banaras. I work across painting, sculpture, and installation. My work focuses on mushrooms as a symbol to explore fragile ecologies, mycelial networks, and organic systems, reflecting metaphors of unseen life and regeneration. The journey from Sri Lanka to India rewrote my perspective, opening a new narrative within me. In Banaras, the rituals, rhythms, and quiet ceremonies of daily life reshaped how I see the world. They urged me to revisit my work, to question, to feel, and to rediscover the themes I thought I already knew. I know when a work is finished, when the materials feel settled, as if they have found their own voice. Everyday objects and time worn materials become agents of carrying collective memories, embodying the traces of lived experiences. These materials collectively speak to Anika, the body's understanding that all things are impermanent.
How do we hold on to what matters when so much is designed to disappear? Hi, my name is Farhin Afza and I'm currently based in Hyderabad. The places I've lived have become the foundation of my practice. Growing up in Bihar Sharif and later spending many years in Jamia Nagar in Delhi, I learned to pay attention to the way memory lives in everyday spaces, how community is built through small rituals, how streets carry generations of stories in their very stones. These environments taught me that beauty exists in the domestic and in the ordinary moments we often overlook. I'm drawn to domestic objects, family albums, and media archives, not as nostalgic relics but as active sites of resistance. These materials are anchors. They preserve what official histories often erase. My process is intuitive. I begin with fragments, a photograph from a family album or media, or an object that carries weight. The medium reveals itself once I understand what the work needs to say. This approach allows me to move fluidly between materials while staying rooted in the story that matters. For me, it's not about confrontation, it's about invitation, asking viewers to sit with complexity, to feel the weight of what's been lost and the resilience of what remains.
I used to confuse movement with safety. I ran until the walls became a blur, a way to forget where it all started. Every city passes through you, leaves its residue. You become soil without knowing it. I'm Shreni, an artist living in Mumbai, a city that breathes in only one direction fast. Here, stillness is the only rebellion. So I dig for the quiet beneath the noise. I spent years collecting places, impressions, the weight of light in a city I'll never return to, a stranger's rhythm I absorb without asking. You don't choose what settles, you only choose whether to let it change you. The screen demands perfection, but the soil is smarter. It refuses nothing, holds everything that passes through until it becomes something else. It knows that to grow, you must consent to rot. I don't just build worlds, I grow them. I take the pixel, cold, exact, and force it to breathe, letting algorithm touch the living. It is a conversation between the light that wants to live forever and the root that knows how to die. They call it alien. I think it's a nature we haven't named yet. The place where the synthetic feels soft, where the strange finally feels familiar, like a memory from the future. Mumbai is the original glitch, constantly dying, constantly reborn. My work is just asking permission to do the same. This isn't a map, it's a pause, a place to feel the leaving and the gentle, terrifying grace of finally staying put.
Amazing. I think let's start with Arun. Arun, if you can tell us a little bit. So Arun's practice is sculptural, it's also performance-based and looking at ideas of humanness and nature and how these two things which should kind of work very well hand in hand, how they kind of struggle to coexist. So I think Arun.
Hi, everyone. I started my practice in the sculpture studio, but I am like more often like I am more interested in the performance happening uh, around me. So I just thought like to use the sculpture to perform in a space. That is the like beginning I was in when I joined to see the fine art. So how will be a sculpture can perform? So I slowly traditionally in academic we learned how a object that is art that is privileged in many spaces. If I how it will be if we cut the privilege of the artwork. If we cut the privilege of the artwork, it will feel. I am thinking it will feel more raw and more connecting to the viewer and making the viewer also the part of it. If the okay if viewer is not there in front of your thought, that thought remains like an only an object. The viewer, it will come in, if it comes in front of the object, then the new meanings produce, and I feel the importance of the viewer there in front of the my medium and the whatever I am creating. And I do more experiments with the space. I create objects and I use the objects in the space to guide the people into that, and taking the people's what they are thinking, how they are experiencing, if they feel fear, they will surprise. So how they are feeling that surprise and the fear.
Thank you. Dumiduni, if you can also tell us a little bit about your sculptural work. For anyone who hasn't and wants to see Arun's work in the flesh, as you leave the auditorium, it's the large work on your left-hand side. Since you are here at the fair, I would encourage you to seek out all four artists' work to see them in person, because while the artists and the India Art Fair team have done a lovely job of documenting everything, nothing compares to seeing the artwork in the flesh. It's that element of surprise and that element of interaction that only happens when you see it in real life. Dumiduni's work is really striking. It's on your way to the institution's booth. If you would have entered from the Govindpuri metro station, it's on that side. So please go and have a look at this beautiful mushroom work. Dumiduni, can you tell us a little bit about your materials, why you started using bangles, and how it kind of ties into your process and your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, Hena, thank you. So my work beginning with a lot of slow observation and experimentation. So normally when I'm starting work, I'm not directly going to the out image. So it's a part of the work, some kind of, it can be changed. What I'm doing now is sketching, it can be changed again and again. It's also my concepts going with. So I'm using very technical material and very soft material, and this time I used contrast materials. So we can't divide all the materials fragile and contrasting like that. As I think it is how we are using that material, how we exploring that material, and how we use for our work that material, and how we engage in with that area. So in this project, I'm working with mushrooms with soft material, tissue papers, and biodegradable polythene. So in this project, I used broken, discarded bangle pieces. It's more than 100 kg. So each bangle pieces giving different stories behind these bangle pieces. So I combine them together as a fertilized drown to heal as a mushroom, to giving that resilience about that life, healing about life. So my concepts, resilience in this project, and my practice, healing, resilience and fragility, impermanent in lives. So I combine this nature and culture material together with studying about its qualities, about these materials, and with lot of experimentation in my studio and outside in Banaras. So when I'm going through the Banaras, I'm getting a lot of inspiration because it's a very cultural city, and it's giving me rethink about what I learned, what I explore in the Sri Lanka. So I saw that connectivity, in the cultural material. So I use both material together and made this sculpture installation. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Farhin's artwork is located actually right as you exit the auditorium on your right-hand side. Farhin also works with multiple kind of mediums, installation, textile, as well as video. Can you talk a little bit about the mediums that you use and kind of why?
Hello, thank you for having me here. Yes, in my works, usually my practice begins with a lot of archival images from personal archives, from family archives to news media, from historical archives. So usually I combine these two archives, which is family archives and historical archives from news media, and I juxtapose these two kind of archives together. So, and also, as talking about materials, I use kafan cloth. So, kafan is usually that white cloth that is wrapped, that we wrap around the deceased and before burying them. So, my maternal grandfather used to have this kafan shop, and kafan was usually very intricately part of our daily life because my grandfather used to have this kafan shop, and whenever the leftover kafan cloths used to be there in the shop, so my maternal grandmother and my khala, they used to take all those leftover clothes and take it inside the home, and they used to stitch it together, all the small tukra, and then they used to make it into beautiful, they used to trace beautiful patterns over that kafan cloth and used to embroider it and paint it. And it used to turn into very beautiful pillow covers, bed sheets, and tablecloths. So I noticed very later, so this kafan cloth, which is very uncomfortable material coming into our daily life and domestic life. So I noticed, and I started using kafan cloth in my work. So this is one of the artwork that I did. So this is Dastakhan. I painted this Dastakhan in red over a kafan cloth. So this is white kafan cloth and painted it in red. And so Dastakhan, I'll tell about it. So Dastakhan is basically a dining cloth that we spread every day on the floor and we eat around it. And when we sit together and eat around it, a community builds around it. And in that time, conversation opens. So the idea was to open conversation and what is happening in the current political situation. And so I have, Dastakhan is basically in very bright yellow, green, red colors. So I've painted it in red and white. And when you look closely, all the motifs that is there, usually Dastakhan is very beautiful floral motifs, but I've changed the motifs. There is JCBs when you look closely. There's JCBs and roses over it. So yeah, this is one of the work, and this is one of the print work that I did where I've used the same motifs taken, same images taken from news media of JCBs and turned into kaleidoscopic patterns. So I started making a lot of kaleidoscopic patterns with all these disturbing images coming out of news media. And I started making videos out of that very disturbing images from news media. So this is one of the video work that I did. Yes. This is also another work where I've used images from news media. Yeah. So, like I said before, I started just opposing those two kind of images from my family album to the images that was coming out of news media. Very violent images. So I combined these two images. This work is titled Seven Memory Boxes. So seven memory boxes is the title is coming from we are seven members in our family. So there are seven boxes in this set of work, and in each box there is one family photo overlapped with image that has come out of news media. So yeah. Yeah, maybe. Yes, I think that's it. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
You can see Shreni's work as we enter the fair from the VIP entrance. Shreni works with, again, videos primarily, but they have a mind of their own. So if you want to tell us a little bit about that, I think.
Yeah, thank you for having me here, and thanks for the introduction as well. I'm a new media artist. I started my journey by just understanding the role of tech in our lives. I came from a design background and I studied architecture, so I was already interested in software and spaces and the emotions that come with just being present in a space. So yes, I do use video a lot in my work, but I also create installations that use different technology as well. This was a series of photographs superimposed with 3D forms. I'm always interested in the unseen and the unknown and just trying to give some kind of form to an emotion. And technology has kind of evolved as a tool for me when I realized that my perfectionist brain kind of relaxes and allows art to pass through when I create a set of rules. So tech kind of allows me to do that through code and different other parametric softwares. I'm able to create a set of rules and then kind of let the organic matter enter technology, and the art is what you see on the other side of it. So this, for example, is a project that I did with my partner Abhishek called Memories of a Tree, where we use field recordings of birds to create soundscapes through a year in the Western Ghats. And through the set of rules that were created, the audio, the soundscape that was created of the forest kind of produced these visuals. There's going to be a video that will play after this as well. And you'll get to see that this is kind of giving a visual to the unseen. I don't know if you can, there's audio as well. Okay, great. I guess I'll just let you hear it. So yeah, so this is something that I'm always interested in, kind of exploring through technology, giving shape to something that is coming in and being experienced but not necessarily seen. The work that I was able to produce through this residency allowed me to kind of understand my relationship with the city of Mumbai. I went and switched mediums from a more nature-driven landscape to a very urban environment in which I now exist. Not to forget nature entirely, but it is something that kind of was brought in through the lens of what it means to be present in a city. And similar to what the video that you just saw, this work as well is driven through a soundscape, but this time of a city. Do you want me to talk about the work in this as well or later?
I think, so my next question, and this is for everyone, so I won't kind of stop if we can just kind of talk about it. But my next question is, everyone, and I find this really, it's very exciting to see that all your practices have multiple facets. You're all looking at using different materials to talk about the same thing, but each one is equally important. We're not, I think what's very exciting for me is that we've moved beyond kind of this notion of there's a sketch and then there's a painting and then the paint, like that was the rough work and this is the fair work. And while that is still true, of course, and it still exists, here I think all these forms, whether it's the video or the digital print or the cloth or the sculpture or the performance, I think they all kind of coexist and they coexist simultaneously. And there is, I think, in 2026, there is less of a hierarchy between the processes that everyone is kind of playing with, also the plastic works. So I think if you guys can just talk about those multiple facets of your practice, I think that will be very interesting. Yeah.
I think, especially in a digital practice, process is extremely important. Because yes, you can produce something like this in a day, but yes, you can also take 2 years to produce. And it's a little bit difficult to explain to somebody who just walks into an installation like the one that we've put up here, that it's also a set of code, it's also so much that has gone behind the scenes. There's a lot of data that is driving the visuals that you see. And it's very easy to just ask if an AI has created this. But there is, if I could put it as bluntly as possible, the art is actually the process. The visuals are just what comes out of it. And yeah, like, I don't know if you have a follow-up question, but even with this example, right, I have no control over what happens. I don't have no control over the movement. I have just put together a set of rules and I've allowed the audio to then take over entirely. So that's something that I always, that's the process of creating and then letting go is something that I learn every day through my work, and it's what keeps bringing me back to my work as well.
Farhin, do you want to talk about?
Yeah. Hi. So yes, again. So like I said before, I also have video works where there is a lot of data from history and present. And so yes, I use images and from history and very violent images and turn it into these beautiful patterns. And you'll look closely when you go close, and when you look for some time, you'll feel there is, it's not like really, really beautiful. So there is, you'll feel it's a bit hypnotic. And so yes, I use a lot of images from history and very violent images. And then I work with textile also. So do you want to talk about anything particular?
I think maybe how sort of the textile will inform the video and the video will inform the textile, and how sort of both of those play off each other and become part of one whole.
So the patterns is something that ties these two things together. So there are patterns in videos, there are patterns on the textile. So when you get to see my work that is displayed here in India Art Fair, so you'll see there is this very long, 20-meter long dastakhan that has been printed manually. It's hand block printed. So, and you'll see the same kind of patterns coming on the very 20-meter long cloth. And so.
And I think also, when we say patterns and patterns being the history is also a pattern, right?
Yes.
It's this kind of constant repetition which also comes in
Yeah.
in both the video
So-
and in, I guess, real life.
Yes.
You know, yeah.
So yeah, patterns is also conceptual here. Patterns, history repeats, and historical episodes of violence seeps inside domestic, and it keeps repeating again and again. So the idea of making this 20-meter long dastakhan with the same pattern is taken from this very idea of repeated patterns of violence in history and present, and which has shaped our past and present continuously. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. And then, Dumiduni, if you can tell us a little bit about, you know, we were talking about the glass bangles and how you kind of encountered them when you came to Banaras, and then this idea of of breaking and remaking and having these very sharp sort of edges alongside these very soft, fibrous mushrooms. I don't know if you can talk about that a little bit. And then if you can also talk about your older work. I know there are pictures of it on this. Can we go to that slide? No, it's the one with the one more. Yeah, if you can talk about these as well, because I think this is also, it's very different from what you see at the fair, but it's very similar in some ways. So if you can talk about that.
Okay, thank you, Hena. When I'm starting work with mushrooms, it's all about curiosity. Curiosity, what's happening around me, what's happening with me. So this concept flow with, impermanence. In Buddhist, we are calling it anitya. So it's happening like Hena say, again and again. It's a life circle, like mushroom. When you see the symbols, that mushrooms and bangles, it's our life, all the things are circle, again and again happening. So we have to go with that flow without stopping, because maybe something happened, but it's not a, stop. It's a kind of, starting point again. Rethink about again, redraw, renewal. That's the point of my, the thinking part about, for the viewers, from my artwork. So this artwork talking about happiness, this chair, happiness, how comfort zone, in our lives, these are different kind of mushrooms, different kind of stages. So how we, that fragility in the life and holding that happiness. It can be changed, it can be fell down like chair. But it's very cute and it's very comfort. We like to keep with us. So, but we have to be with that understanding. It can be changed, that impermanence idea. So when I'm going with my new work in the art fair, so it's I combine with nature. Before I told you, nature and culture material, discarded bangle pieces. So these bangles I used, it's red color, red glass bangles. It's a very common thing wherein every woman, as I know, in India, a lot of South Asian countries. So it's symbolizing a lot of rituals and femininity. There are a lot of stories behind that bangles, but we are not noticing that. It's a kind of a soft armor, because when it's break down, breaking, and when it's shattered, it's given another meaning in our society. There are myth actually. So it's when it breaking, they are giving, it's a loss, it's misfortune, it's a bad luck, some kind of. But it's not like that, because when it's something happened, it's a starting point, as I told before. So I am giving a new form to that discarded reuse that materials again for my work, and I made the that like environment for the draw the mushroom through them. So that bangle pieces making new form, like we can make a new form and still generate beauty through the brokenness. So I wanted to show and giving that understanding to viewer about that idea. And nothing can stop. Shattered pieces also can generate beauty. There are possibilities to bloom again. Yeah.
Thank you. And then, Arun, the viewer again is very important in both your sculptural and performance works. So maybe if you can tell us a little bit again how the sculpture and the performance kind of coexist, and then also kind of close it, and then I'll ask everyone else to answer as well. Kind of close it with how you guys have been experiencing viewer reactions to your work. I think over the last 3 days, just to talk about that and to talk about. In terms of, I guess, the whole idea of this panel is about longevity. So I think one thing that's very important is that when artists come out of the silo, so they create within a silo, and when they come out, a lot of what longevity has to do with is how you respond to what you hear when you come out of the silo. So I think that, like, what responses have you received, and what do you think, how do you think that'll impact your practice going forward?
Okay, now I am a bit free to talk. Actually. See, I want to show one video. I did one performance in my bachelor's. The thought came, okay, like if an artwork is performing in front of a viewer, and the viewer is seeing the artwork, I did this sculpture. Okay, how it will, how the people will feel if the sculpture is automatically or building up. The artist became a sculpture, part of a sculpture here. So from here I like continued. Okay, like okay, now the sculpture should not, for me, the sculpture should not sit still and be there in not disturbing. The people who are coming there is have to learn what I have to, like there should be a thought conversation happening, or the body conversation from the viewer to the artwork in front of them. This performance I did from the morning to the night. The people, like, the interesting thing I felt in this performance is like the viewer coming and the artist myself, we can't see each other. Like they are seeing something that I can't see, and I am seeing something they can't see. So there is a big gap between whatever we are thinking and whatever you're doing and converting to the visual. There is a gap. That gap is there always. So that gap, how to feel, I thought, okay, that the viewer thought is the more important thing, more than what I have created. So the thought, what they are thinking in front of my visual. And here I created one huge human figure that is suspended and it is hanging because this is a fair and a lot of people will come, crowded area. So here it represents us. It's a naked body made of a wax, and I connected it to the weather also. So the winter, so it will become soft at the noon and it will become hard at the night, and it will not sustain after in winter also. So it will like maximum 27 degrees it will go. So this thing I like. It has to move always. Work has to move always. So the possibility of fragility of the work. If the work is breaking, yeah, we have to accept it. What I think. Sometimes we have to break what we are thinking. Like then only we can see the more possibility. I think, and process by process, I This work is my favorite work actually. This work is titled as Shugu. It's a nickname, Malayalam nickname. He's my friend actually, came from another planet. So here I connected like, okay, that the privilege of an artist, whatever we are that positioned as an artist, whatever we are telling, people are, yeah, it is what he is saying. But there is a manipulation happening, I feel, whatever. Um, so he's a friend who came from Jupiter actually, came to my college, and he was there in my college for almost 1 week. And after I kept this guy in my studio, toilet, principal room, on the tree, wall. People started communicating. They don't need to communicate physically also. Like they can communicate by seeing itself. Or if something is there in near them, some kind of thought will go. We don't need to force it. Oh, this is that. This is that. Let them be free and think. And by and I always think in the almost always process is more important than the final output in my case, because in the I want to see I want to, if when I'm doing a sculpture, I want people to feel more what I have gone through the process actually. Here in this work, that wax, that it feels naked, and I did a kind of a performance when I am making that actually. Yeah. And when Farhin said the importance of the repetition also is there in the process. Repetition means you are repeating, it is not ending. It has this going. So the repetition is very important in the process.
Thank you. Does anyone else want to talk about reactions you'll have had to the work or conversations you've had around it during the fair?
I heard one kid cried in front of my work, scared. There is a cultural construction happen in the people head. So when we see a object, it's already constructed. We have to see that object in a way. So I always try to break that. Like there is another area we can think about that object. Yeah.
So,
It's here.
yeah. So, like Arun was talking about how audience are very free to engage with the work and they can have their own interpretation with that. But like I would say, when you see my work, it's kind of talking about these histories and violence. So it's less open to interpretation from the public. It's more I'm talking about directly what's happening and kind of recording and putting the past into the present. So yes, and so my work kind of pushes the boundary of how much public can take in and how much free we are to speak about things that is happening. And also when you see my Dastakhan work, it's kind of calling the people to come and sit around it and engage with the work and look closely. And it's kind of making the audience to sit in this complexity. And yeah, it's kind of doing that in my work. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Shreni?
I've also had mixed reactions to my work. The piece that I have here is called Stand Here, Forget. And I've been categorically clear in telling everybody that asks me about what to say about the work, that I would like to invite people to stand here and forget. I don't want you to impose anything necessarily, because it's inspired by the city of Mumbai, it's inspired by an urban system, and I wanted that to be replicated in the emotions that you feel with the piece as well. So it's an 8-minute long video, and I would like people to come in and leave whenever they like, and for the work to hold you like a city would, and for you to have an experience with the work like you do in any city. And it's been a revelation. The kind of things that people are saying to me, people who are familiar with the city will come to me and say that, okay, I recognize traces of the city, but it's somehow still peaceful, which is something that I'm always trying to bring with my work. So I feel like that's quite successful in that. There's some people who've said that the work makes them dizzy, so nobody's started crying yet, but that I know of. But yeah, I mean, technology has different, I guess, effects on people. A lot of people asking me if this is AI, which it isn't. Please spread the word. And yeah, I have to say that I'm quite thankful for this opportunity, because just being able to put up a digital piece in through a platform like this gives me hope in terms of what my practice can, have here on. And when you spoke about how am I going to bring that back into my work, I think that there is a lot of experience that I carry, a lot of conversations that I will always have at the back of my mind now. And it also somehow gives me the freedom to push myself and not think so much about what people are going to say and think. And yeah, it's just a kind of, yeah,
So-
go ahead.
I think Dumiduni, do you want to say anything?
Actually, when I'm sitting and, when I'm sitting next to my work, they don't know I'm an
Yeah,
artist
yeah,
of that
yeah,
work.
yeah.
So they are coming and I'm taking their, reaction, how they are engaging with the artwork. They are very curious about the work, and that expression give me, the power, energy to work, and it's a kind of real happiness as an artist for me. It's I think first we have to be happy with our work. Without, next part going with how others reacting with and how they engage with the artwork. When I see their reaction, how they are, they are trying to understand why she combined these mushroom, why blue between these bangles. It's very soft. This is very red color. It's very contrasting. They making that conversation actually. Then yeah. So I'm happy about that. This platform gave us to experiment for ourselves, also our practice, and to viewers also give new experience about, think about all of our work, new perspective, with the new perspective. Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. I think, does the audience have any questions? Okay. Can I summarize what I think? I think when we started off, we were talking about material multiplicity and longevity, and I think while we were talking about longevity in a more practical sense of the word, I think what's happened on this panel, and what's really lovely, is that all of you, when I asked what the audience reaction was and how it's going to affect your work, I think the resounding answer is that you're really just listening to what the audience is saying and taking it back to the same practice and bringing that practice back stronger. And I think the true longevity of practice is that, and not kind of worrying about the other stuff, because I think that kind of figures itself out if the practice is strong enough. And I also think that it's wonderful that India Art Fair gives all of us the opportunity to see your work, which I think is so ephemeral. It's hard to see on a screen, it's hard to see on a computer, it's hard to engage without you guys present. So thank you to India Art Fair, and thank you to you guys for being a great audience.